Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to the webinar Software Testing Battle, Software Houses versus Independent Providers. Thank you for joining us today. QATestLab continues a series of live webinars dedicated to QA and testing. We are talking about specifics of software testing, QA team management, test approaches and tools. We are analyzing tricky cases on the real projects. Besides, we will tell at what stage of software development testing should be implemented, how to select a proper provider of QA services to build long-term business relations. We'll try to prepare the most helpful and interesting topics for you to understand nuances of software testing and to avoid any pitfalls. If you have any suggestions about the webinar topic, please write to marketing@QATestLab.com. Today I will be your speaker. My name is Mikhail Grichuka and I'm a program manager in QATestLab company. So let's start. It's an axiom that a bug detected at the late stages of software development lifecycle will cause higher expenses and may lead to software failure. For example, IBM System Sciences Institute said that the bug fixing and the design phase is 100 times cheaper than fixing on the same bug detected after release. At the same time, software testing remains the first budget item that can be reduced when company spendings are limited. But unlike startups and small companies, large and innovative businesses really fully realize the necessity and importance of QA and testing services. Usually, they use the services of independent testing. So, who needs independent testing? Actually, to be true, an accurate and precise evaluation of product quality is obligatory for every company who creates a new software product or application, implements a new feature or system function, customizes off-the-shelf product, or makes any other software changes that can affect in proper operation. It is relevant to companies and organizations of different market areas, for example, tourism, healthcare, financial services, learning, entertainment, etc. But in the majority of cases, the development procedure requires rather high expenses and a company does not have enough resources for internal testing. That's why this company had three variants. First is omit testing at all. It's actually not very good variant. The second one is to have it conducted by the development team. And the third one is outsource QA and testing. So let's talk more about the last option. So why outsource QA and testing? The main reason to outsource QA is cost reduction. It's a common problem for all companies, especially, for example, startups. The business model ensures decreasing of operational expenses without losing the quality of services. According to the website statista.com, in 2016, 59% of companies have QA services outsourced because of project cost cutting. The matter is that customers do not need to pay for office space for QA team, buy required tools for testing and equipment for testing, like mobile devices, and pay for QA specialist training. Another option is training a QA lead. The customer pays only for man-hours needed to fulfill the assigned scope of work. Independent testing gives companies an opportunity to be more focused on business affairs and solve capacity issues. Moreover, QA outsourcing drives broader transformation changes and gives access to intellectual capital of the other companies all over the world. We find out the reasons for outsourcing QA and testing. And now let's learn who can perform the QA and testing activities, who can perform it correctly. So let's start from the slide, who are software houses. Testing and QA services can be provided by software houses. it's companies that develop and distribute software products and technologies or provide IT services. Actually, there are several types of software houses. The giants of software market create QATS, it's commercial on the shelf. The companies like that are Microsoft, Oracle Corporation, Adobe System, etc. You all know that companies. Companies such as Panorama, Sibyl Systems, and other produce commercial off-the-shelf software. The area of SaaS, software as a service, is represented by Facebook, LinkedIn, its world-known companies. The area is included in cloud computing. Also, there are companies that create software components, like Dundas Data Visualization, its Developer Express. The mentioned companies are the giants of software market. If we are talking in general, software houses can be divided into three groups. It's project-oriented companies, it's product-oriented companies, and IT service providers. The companies of all three groups are constantly looking for the new projects, products, or clients. They are not focused on the particular thing all the time. Software houses provide the services of software development and testing. Let's go to another slide. Who are independent testing providers? Besides, there are companies that provide only services of QA and testing. Such independent testing providers are called pure players. The notion pure player means that the company or organization that provides a particular service or is focused on certain product. The representatives of independent testing field are Tricentis, TCS, CA Technologies, QS Symphony, and a lot of others. So, software houses and independent testing providers both provide testing services by whom to select for effective and cost-wise quality verification. Let's analyze both independent providers and software houses according to several parameters. And the first parameter will be quality. Following in-house process model, software houses provide the services of custom software development. But testing of the software development by the same company leads to the conflict of objectives. And in more detail, this topic I mentioned in my previous webinar. Both the development and testing teams are oriented to the common goal, company profit. Moreover, QA and testing are not the core activities of software houses. They get profit mainly from the software development, so the evaluation of product quality may not be objective. Software houses focus on growth and development of programmers, not testers. They invest rather in technological development to obtain the bug-free code. Testing shows the weak points of the code and errors made by dev team. This leads to schedule and budget variance. Independent tester providers initially provide the services of independent testers. They invest in QA specialists and up-to-date tools needed for testers. They are fully focused on QA. The number of detected issues, bugs, and in-time release of the product without any failures is the only way to demonstrate their work. The business model of independent software QA and testing providers is rather young and it's mainly represented by few global vendors. Usually, independent testing providers are the small or middle companies, but the market is developing dynamically. There are several preconditions for the development of QA and testing markets. Digitalizing of all industry and global technological development lead to very high demand for software and to constantly increasing requirements to quality of the product. That actually makes QA and testing services much needed. The old outsourcing software development market made the ground for independent providers to appear. The previous business model fully satisfied the needs of QA and testing market, and in the most cases, independent testing providers are outsourced. The cost of services also plays an important role for business. So the next parameter is cost. Companies strive to find a cost-saving solution for QA and testing activities. Hiring qualified and experienced testers to join your team in-house can be a costly adventure. Why? Let's imagine the procedure of forming in-house QA team. You're hiring new testers with adequate skills and experience. Invest time in their training. You integrate in team these new testers into your team, or for example, your project. Also, you should provide them with all required testing tools and frameworks, popular mobile devices, etc., or personal computers with certain configuration, like video adapters or SSD disks. Will the benefits outweigh the costs? And what if it is a short-term project? Then, of course, to hire independent QA team will be a more cost-effective approach. But as this will be a removed team, the customer may have some difficulties with communications, and let's talk about these difficulties. So, communications. Communication is vital for smooth cooperation and proper understanding of information. Even being in one building and physically close to you, for example, in one office, in-house QA team may face certain communication troubles caused by misinterpretations or misunderstandings. Well-established communication is the basis for high productivity and team effectiveness. In the case of distant collaboration, it may be a real challenge if the processes are not arranged properly. So it's important. Working with a remote team, you do not have a possibility to go and walk with a certain person or clarify required information on the spot. Under the condition of distance collaboration, you share the common but virtual workplace. To get the answer may take too long if you're totally in the different time zones. But in some cases, it's rather a benefit than disadvantage. For example, you assign a task in the end of the day to QA team, go to bed, and in the morning you already have the test results. So you're saving your time and accelerate the process. But still, in the case of urgency, you will not be able to contact remote team immediately. For such situations, you should prepare Plan B to reduce risk of failure. Fortunately, communication barriers can be avoided by keeping special practices. I also use some of them, and I can say that definitely help to set up a smooth communication in the condition of distant collaboration. Let's talk about these practices. How to ensure effective communication. To have all processes and activities well organized, you should select the standard formats for communications. Choose the format for every time for communication, for example, for sharing plans for the processes, providing updates, solving urgent tasks, and so on. To write an email in case of a breakdown, it's not the right option. In such a case, to find out the reason and fix the issue will take more time. Besides, both remote and in-house teams should know whom they are reporting and know the areas of responsibility of different teams. In order to avoid time wasting, you should use proper communication channel. It will help to save time, avoid data duplication, and reduce the risk of misunderstandings, and also you'll provide information to the right person in the proper place and in the right time. Usually, instant messenger and video chats are used for the quick communication. For example, Skype, Slack, Hangouts, etc. But for the distant collaboration, to be effective, you should know what information should be provided via these particular channels. In case of different time zones, you should schedule calls and meetings at the time suitable for both sides. Conference call promote productive interaction and quicker data sharing with the opportunity to start the discussion if necessary. It's more effective to have 5 minutes call than to write hundreds of emails and still do not get the answer. Using these recommendations, you ensure the effective communication with the remote QA team. So another problem is control. You may think that if the whole project team is the same building, then it's easier to control and monitor the work of each other member. In such a case, you can fully trust your team. But if the team is 1,000 miles away, then it's not easy to earn the trust and maintain it. Nevertheless, when you provide the customer with detailed reports on a regular basis, then you ensure the transparency of all activities and process. For example, we provide daily and weekly reports and final test summary in convenient form. Also, often team meetings are rather effective practice. By communicating and exchanging the data between all project team, you will avoid any gaps in business and functionality objectives. These meetings help the remote team to clearly understand the system and the customer expectation, their aim. Ensuring process transparency, everything will be spread out before you. This leads to establish strong business relationship built on trust. Flexibility. In conditions of current markets and their dynamic changes, flexibility is an obligatory attribute for every business. In terms of team flexibility, independent testing providers definitely win. And I have already mentioned before, you should have enough tasks for each member in in-house QA team to ensure their full-time job. Because in the other hand, you will waste money. Using the services of independent testing providers, you are free to resize a team according to the project needs. For example, you are planning a huge update and you need, for example, 3 more people. Independent testing providers could give that people in a few days. You should have a bigger scope of work to fulfill. Then you ask the independent provider for more testers. No tasks at all, then you do not pay for the full time. Independent testers execute their tasks and the collaboration finishes. You can easily discuss this with the QA lead on the project. Such flexibility of independent testers is a big advantage, and you cannot always control everything, and sometimes something may go wrong, not according to your schedule. If in-house QA team gets too many tasks, they can either work overtime to meet the schedule or hire new members. But this will cost additional time and financial expenses. You should remember this all the time. One more challenge is mobile testing. For example, when you need certain devices and equipment for checking of software. And if it's certain devices that are popular in the one part of the world. You can buy all needed devices if your budget covers these expenses. But it is cost-wisely to buy expensive tools and equipment to use it once or twice. Of course not. And main focus on the services of QA and testing, independent providers already have the majority to testing means that meet the current market and software requirements. Let's go to another slide. Why our customers of our company choose independent testing. For now, I'd like to tell you about the main reasons why common reasons why our customers choose independent testing, even having their own in-house QA team. Yeah, it's real cases. One of the most common reasons is the double check of the software quality because the final release to the market. Nearly 30% of our customers have their own teams, and sometimes these teams are huge. The teams execute very qualitative checking of the ready product, but the top quality is the priority for every customer, and they are ready to allocate a separate budget for independent testing to guarantee the high quality of their product. They want to provide the users with the solution of 99 in 99% quality. Using independent testing, you get an objective evaluation of software quality without any predictions of system operation capacities. When a team is specialized in a certain area, for example, again, mobile testing, then every its member is aware of the pitfalls, know the common users' expectations and needs, already faced with common issues, and know how to discover action-triggered bugs. But if you do not have QA team earlier, hire experienced and skilled testers as you think, have your product tested but not sure that the check-in was complex and effective, then you use the services of independent testing. Using the services of independent provider, some of our customers want to verify the competence of their own internal QA team. Can believe into that? It's not a secret that independent testing assists reducing the cost of QA services, especially in the case of startup or other small project with a limited budget. You do not have to hire a QA manager, buy tools, equipment, what we're talking about above. The independent testing provider has own internal management team. Besides, you can consider a remote team as a part of your in-house project team. Again, example from our real project. One of our customers had own QA team of four testers, 4 guys. But he decided to add several more remote independent testers to this team. Thus, he had larger QA team that covered all necessary tasks, but without extra expenses and reduction of quality. Besides that, based on my own experience, I do not recommend the companies whose main activity is not software development to have their own in-house QA team. Again, example from the real life. You create a client application for real estate markets. You do not need the full-time internal QA team. You just need to have the product tested before its release, and you do not plan to perform any updates to this application. So you can simply use the services of independent testing and save your money. Also, not large web studios like from 2 to 20 persons do not need to hire their own in-house QA team of several testers who will perform small and short-term tasks. And another small trick, especially for you today, if you have already worked with independent testing team and you are satisfied with their services and quality, and you're planning to add some new features, new functional parts, or again, another projects, it's better to use the same service provider. This will help to avoid time on looking for a new vendor, and the team does not need to learn the system specifics from the very beginning, and they already work with it. In such a case, the collaboration with independent QA team you have already worked before, you will help to save 20% of your budget. But in order to make a right choice between software houses and independent testing provider, you should analyze their product needs, available time and budget, the system specifics in the possibilities of development procedure. Make the proper choice and release to market only top quality products. So that's all information from me today. And during my speech, I noticed that some our attendees sent me questions, and we have a couple of minutes to answer these questions. And let's give them 2 more minutes. If they have any questions, please, I will wait them. Okay, maybe I will start from the first one, and if you have any additional questions, please text me in the chat and I will add it to our conversation. So the first question is, how can I trust remote team? They're sending me reports, showing me results, but I'm afraid that's not enough. First of all, your cooperation, as I mentioned in this webinar, should be based on trust. If you do not have this trust, their collaboration will not be effective. Again, I think that the proper tool for that will be meetings with the team, communications with the team. For example, daily reports made by Skype calls, daily Skype calls with QA lead. Add more communication with the team, and you will think, in some time, you will think that it's a part of your team. Okay, the second question is, where did you get the number of 20% budget savings if we use the same service provider? Actually, it's from the practice. Its amount is not clear. It's average amount. I think it's based on our 2-3 last projects. So it could be higher or not. Okay, third question. How can I choose a proper independent service provider? Actually, my two webinars were about the proper choosing, but on practice, what can I say? You can find on the internet any recommendations about service providers. There are lots of ratings of service providers. You can choose several of them and perform meetings with program project managers, with the sales department, and ask them what they can offer you. What are their suggestions about your projects and testing procedure? You can ask to estimate your product. So you'll see estimation of every company, and you will be able to choose proper one. Yeah, so it depends on your budget, your expectations. So please do that. Okay, the next question. Maybe it's better to hire a freelancer on Upwork. Perhaps it's better, but it's more safe to work with the company, not with the freelancers. So if you prefer to work with the Upwork, you several times work with it, you can do that. But my advice is to choose the company profile and work with the company. It's more secure for your product. You can also sign NDA with that company and it will be better. So I hope I help you with my answers. I see no additional questions. Okay, so guys, thank you for your time. I hope I we discussed some major points in the case what we should choose, software houses or independent providers. Thank you again and take care.